lots of Manchester United stories to get through. There's a link with Joao Neves. There's a few papers running that story. Plus, we'll have a couple of updates on loanees as well. What's going on with a couple of our players that have been loaned out. Plus, we're in for a left-back too. You'd think we would be. The amount of left-backs we've had injured. Obviously, we can't bring one in until the summer, but we are being linked with one from Germany. Jay here from Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it looks like it might start raining. It's pretty cloudy and I'm absolutely knackered because I stayed up all night to watch the Oscars, which wasn't the smartest move. Anyway, let's crack on. Make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Want to get to 750,000 subscribers by the end of the season. And with your support, yes, we can get there. Right, let's talk about Joao Neves because this story has been doing the rounds. I think this broke sort of yesterday afternoon. I think this was a sort of Sunday afternoon story. It's been picked up by a few newspapers. I'm seeing it being run pretty much everywhere. Sky Sports had it in their paper roundup. I think the Daily Mail had it. The Mirror have had it. I think it might have come from the Daily Mail, but don't quite quote me on that one. It's been doing the rounds in that many newspapers. Sometimes it's hard to pinpoint which one had it first, but we'll go with the Mail. Basically saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS have greenlit the move for Joao Neves from Benfica. Obviously, very, very talented 19-year-old midfielder. Can play as sort of deep line defensive midfielder as well. Very, very good on the ball. Got quick feet. He's got that composure, that kind of composure that you see with Kobbie Mainoo. That's how good he is. I'm comparing him to the great Kobbie Mainoo. Now, would he fit into this Manchester United team? I think he would. The sort of fly in the ointment is the numbers being touted for him, the price tag being touted is around 100 million pounds, I think it is as well. Now, are United going to go out and spend 100 million quid on a midfielder when we're having this new regime, this new sort of part ownership, a new transfer approach? The old way of doing things seems to be going out the window, going out there and overpaying for players, and this seems to be a new way, or this is what we're hearing, that we are going to look for value for money in the market. However, there may be a case that you have to go out and buy at least one player for that kind of money. Because if you are going to challenge at the very top, sooner or later, you're going to have to bring in someone you think potentially or right now is world class. And that is going to cost you the big bucks. Now, every team has one player they've spent a lot of money. Every successful team has one player they've spent a lot of money on. If you look at City, they went out, and I know the City have spent a lot of money on a lot of players, but they went out and they spent 100 million on Jack Grealish. Liverpool obviously spent a lot of money, 75 million on Virgil van Dijk, and then they went out and spent, I think it's 100 million euros on Darwin Núñez. A lot of the teams that are challenging near the top of the table have spent big money. Arsenal don't usually spend 100 million, but then they went out and spent it on Declan Rice. I think they spent over 100 million on him. So every team does it. Now, are Manchester United going to be able to have this approach where we go, well, we're never doing that, and we are going to challenge at the very top? I'm not so sure. I think we have to be careful. I think we can't do it lots and lots of times. We can't keep doing it. We won't have the money, and FFP won't allow us to do that. But there might be a case that one signing this summer is a big money signing, and I mean a big money signing. Now, you may disagree, you may think, no, Jay, we need to stop all this. Let me know what you think in the comments. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Manchester United went out and spent around 100 million, maybe even a little bit less, maybe 90 million on one player. Now, we were linked last summer with Donny Van De Beek. I'll get to him in a minute. We're linked with Frankie de Jong heavily, and it looked like we were going to get him for around 84 million quid. I don't know what's going to happen in the summer. Are Barcelona willing to let him go? Are we going to go back in for him? Is Erik ten Hag going to chase after him? Is Erik ten Hag even going to be the manager next season? We don't know. I'm not saying he shouldn't be, we just don't know. But if he is, and if we can get Frankie de Jong, I expect us to go back in for him with a similar bid. However, if we're not going for him, if we are going for another midfielder or another star player, don't be too surprised if we do spend big bucks on one player. And that player could be Joao Neves. He's absolutely smashing it in the Portuguese. I think Benfica are 1 point behind Sporting at the top of the table. And obviously, he's 19 years old. He's not played a lot of games in professional football. I think he's played about 68 games, something like that. But he's obviously a huge talent, highly rated for a reason. He's got a few Portuguese caps. And United might have to look at it and go, look, we need to get a player who's on the cusp of great things. We can't go out and get a Kylian Mbappe, a Jude Bellingham, one of those players. We might need to get a player who is about to become one of the top players. I don't think he's quite there yet, but there's every reason to believe he could get there. Let me know what you think. Should United avoid this transfer? Should we be going? Can it even happen? There's lots of ifs and buts and maybes, but it's the kind of transfer, right? If we bought him, you might question it, but you won't moan about it. If that makes sense, you'd go, there's a kid, there's a talent. Good, I'm glad we've got him, but have we overpaid? So let me know what you think about that one. looks like there might be something in it. We'll have to wait and see because, like I say, there's so many caveats. We just don't know. And also, if we haven't got Champions League football next season, he might even look at it and go, I'm not going to a club without Champions League football. So that might be another twist in the tail. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about another potential incoming, and that's Luca Netz, and this is the left back from Borussia Mönchengladbach. I've seen this, I think United in Focus have had it, a couple of other publications have had it, that United are tracking him. He's 20 years old, very talented left back in Germany. We know we need a left back. We're crying out for one. I don't know what is happening with Tyrone Malacia. Luke Shaw's had his injury issues. I've spoken so many times about Luke Shaw, about his injury issues. Also, Tyrone Malacia has basically missed the entire season. You can't rely on these two. We need to bring in someone else. Luca Netz is a player we're being linked with. Youngster, 20 years old, already played quite a few games in the Bundesliga. He could be an option for Manchester United. I expect us to bring a left back in the summer. I'm not sure whether it's going to be Netz. It might be someone else. But as always, we will keep you posted. A few people have been saying like, oh, we've got some youngsters there. Is it Harry Hamas? I think is the young kid that everyone's on about. I think he's about 16. So I don't see a youngster coming in from the academy just yet. I know we've let Alvaro Fernandez go out on loan. We've let Brandon Williams go out on loan. Does the manager fancy him? Are they going to come back into the team? I'm not so sure. I think Manchester United might go out and buy a left back. I think we should go out and buy a left back. I think that should be a priority, to be brutally honest with you. We've had a lot of talk, haven't we, and noise about the right back position. Are we going to go out and buy, say, a Jeremy Frimpong, for example? I think left back's your priority because we ain't got a left back, and you can't keep doing that. You can't keep trying to challenge and move forward as a club when one of your major positions, when any of your positions don't have a player that can play there. We keep having to shuffle our pack, playing Victor Lindelof, who ain't a left back, at left back, playing Diogo Dalot, who ain't a left back, at left back. It makes zero sense. We need a left back. Go out and get one this summer, and it looks like Luca Netz could be a target for Manchester United. I want to talk a little bit about a couple of loanees, players that we've let go out on loan. Jadon Sancho. Now, I stood here not long ago, and I was quite critical after what I'd read about his performances in Germany. He hadn't really been doing it. I was concerned about his future, not just for him as a player, but were United going to get any money for him? What is his career going to end up sort of being one of those great what-if stories? However, he did score at the weekend. I think he got a goal which turned out to be the winner against Werder Bremen. Good to see him scoring. Good to see him getting his mojo back. I'm not too enamoured of what Jadon Sancho did at Manchester United. I think he has to hold his hands up and take responsibility for what he did. However, I do want to see him playing well. Whether that's for him to get a permanent move, which I think is best for all concerned, or if he does come back, you want a player who has had a successful loan spell. What I don't want to see is him go to Dortmund and do nothing. And he hasn't been doing a lot. I think he'd started off quite brightly and then he faded a little bit. However, got a very good goal at the weekend. Hopefully, this can be the start of him sort of getting his career going again, because you know he's loved at Dortmund. He says it's home. He says he loves it there. So if he can have them sort of performances that we've seen recently, then hopefully he can either get a permanent move or he can get his career going anywhere again. If that is back at Old Trafford, we'll have to wait and see. I'd rather it wasn't. You may disagree. Let me know what you think in the comments. Another loanee, a completely different story. Donny Van De Beek. He's having a bit of a nightmare. He went out on loan. I think it was Eintracht Frankfurt. There's a piece in the Evening News about him, and it's summing up the torrid time he's having. I think he's had one game, I think it was against Bochum, don't quote me, where he was brought on and then subbed off. He's had other games where he hasn't featured. I mean, it has been a bit of a stinker. And I think there's a buyout clause and there's an option to buy him for around 12 million. Forget that. I don't think it's happening from what we've seen so far. And it's really sad because this was a player who, before we got him, was a Ballon d'Or nominee, been part of that Ajax team that got to the Champions League semi-final and won numerous titles under Erik ten Hag. He comes here, it's pretty evident straight away that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't want him, but got him anyway. But everyone buys into it. Oh, he's a great talent, he's a youngster, he's done this, that and the other. Doesn't really get going at Manchester United under Ole or under Ralph Rangnick. Goes out on loan to Everton, has an injury, misses half the games he's out at Goodison Park for. That doesn't do him any favours. Then Erik ten Hag comes in. His former manager, you think, yes, this is going to be it. Donny Van De Beek, it's all happening for him. The manager that brought him into the Ajax team. Now we're going to see the real Donny Van De Beek. Doesn't really get many chances, but when he does, he gets that injury. I think it was against Bournemouth. That sort of knocks him out for the rest of the season. And then he's not featured for United, really. I don't think he's featured since. Goes out on loan, and it ain't happening for him. It's really, really sad. I've got nothing against Donny Van De Beek. It's just sad to see it not working out for him. I hope he turns it around. I hope he can get his career going again. But at the minute, it doesn't look like he has been, or he will do, sorry. So, yeah, just a sad state of affairs, to be honest with you. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. We're going to be back later on today. We've got the Paddock podcast, myself, Joe Smith, and Ronaldo Brown. Make sure as well, if you're not doing, you're checking out all the other videos on the channel. We've got a big game coming up, haven't we? Yeah, I know I say this is the big one, but it really is. Manchester United versus Liverpool in the FA Cup quarter-final. It don't get much bigger than that. And I'll be honest with you, I'm dreading it. Well, we'll have to wait and see what's happening on the injury front. We've had a few stories about this player might be back. We're going to wait till later on in the week till we get clarity on just which players will be available. But we need to have, I want to say our strongest team. That ain't going to happen. We need to have a strong team out for that one. Anyway, I've been Jay Motty. This has been The Paper Talk. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.